So we'll call the meeting to order, and I have one modification to the agenda. We have one candidate from Johnson who'd like to join the board, so right below the data update, I'll talk to that real quick. I can vote on bringing this lady on board. So with that being said, is there an approval for the agenda with the one change?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Any comments? Can't see out of the backside of my head, so. All those in favor of approving the agenda with the alteration, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay. And under public comment, this is what I normally say in the beginning. If you are a member of the public and you'd like to speak, now is your time. Once this closes, the board will no longer recognize you to speak. So is there any public comment? Okay. Public comment's closed, and I'll turn the meeting over to Kat.
Thank you. I would be looking for nominations from the floor for board chair.
I would like to nominate Mark Nielsen as board chair.
Second. Any other nominations from the floor for board chair? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed or abstained? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you all. So, do you have any nominations from the floor for board clerk?
I would like to nominate Stephanie Sweet as board clerk. Second.
Any other nominations? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of Stephanie being the board clerk, say aye.
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 Okay. Congratulations. Okay. Discuss and approve the board meeting schedule and date for annual meeting. We want to keep our meetings as they are. Everybody's nodding yes.
So that'll be the second Monday of every month.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m.
And the annual meeting,
So that would be February 15th with the information meeting to follow a week later on February 22nd, 2027.
are you okay with that?
Yep.
That's a ways off, but
Is there any, I guess I have a question. Is there any way that we could get the informational meeting to not fall during school vacation week?
Not likely.
Not likely.
Yeah, so it's in statute that it has to be 10 days before the Australian ballot vote. And I don't know if it fits in that week before, it's not days. But I think that Monday. So we've got,
It doesn't.
this is town meeting.
Just 10 days before would
Seven,
be
eight,
Saturday.
nine, 10. 10 days is a Saturday.
Okay.
I know, it's,
You could do it the day before.
Cambridge was
Oh.
already reserved the day before, historically.
seeing as everybody's gonna be staring at you anyways for a minute. You are,
Hi, I'm Laurie Flynn.
okay.
Is this a closed meeting?
No, but we've already had public comments, so you'll be just sitting here watching.
Thank you.
Sure. We all set with that?
And the annual meeting date actually turns out that's in our articles, in our original organization meeting, so we're kind of stuck with that Monday. The third Monday, yeah.
So we're all set with those dates. And committee meeting schedule and membership.
So most of you signed up, all of you signed up for some committee this summer at the retreat. This is an opportunity for you to change your committee. And for people who are new, even though Katie's probably the longest standing board member who has rejoined us, you have an opportunity to sign up for one of the committees. So the irregular committees are personnel and negotiations. And the standing committees that will meet before the board meetings will be FCC, curriculum, and safety and wellness. So if you would like to change the committee you're on, email Michelle Almond. And Katie, I think you're the only one, and so I'm guessing personnel, negotiations, and FCC. Is that right? Okay, so then.
Katie, you can think about it and send me an
No,
email.
that's what she'll do. Thank you.
Okay. Routine business, minutes of February 16th, special board meeting. Do you want to approve that?
Motion to approve minutes of the special board meeting.
Second.
Any comments? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the special board meeting on February 16th, say aye.
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 Those abstained? Okay. Board orders.
I reviewed all the board orders listed on the back of our agenda. Everything looked good and in order. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the board orders.
Seconded.
Any questions? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of approving the board orders, say aye.
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 Opposed or abstained? Okay. Legislative updates.
Right, I don't have a lot because the legislature was off last week for town meeting, but I think that one of the biggest updates is, hopefully you've all seen, about 82% of the budgets that were voted on passed. So, and unfortunately, a lot of those that didn't are repeats. Yeah, and unfortunately, very, very low spending districts. So those that approved budgets approved an average increase of just a little bit above 4%, which is below the 6% estimate that was projected in December. So that's going to give a little bit of relief. Obviously, there's still some more districts to work through, but it's a good sign. I also know that there have been some more discussions on the bill regarding the proposed spending cap. And they're now talking about, instead of capping the percentage growth, to potentially bring down the excess spending threshold. So we'll see where that shakes out. Obviously, a lot to happen this month as we head into crossover and bills come out of committee. I think they're still discussing proposed maps. So I expect a pretty fulsome update next month.
Thank you. We have data.
Yeah, so Kim is not here, she's in Costa Rica, which is great. I wanted to say that the state report card came out and then was quickly, in some ways pulled back because the Agency of Education realized an error on their part in how they translated data that has been a problem since 2017. So what they're saying is some schools that have been identified should not have been, and some schools maybe that weren't identified should have been. So this actually gives more meat to what we were showing you in our data report, and that is the annual assessments that we do with all our students that showed clear and strong growth expectations that met or exceeded national growth expectations. So more to come on that, but it's not very confidence inspiring at this point.
Okay. I had some of you may or may not know, I had a meeting down at Johnson Elementary last Wednesday from 6 to 8. Then I made a separate phone call to another gentleman later on. We have a Liz Kaufman. It basically is 3 openings on the Johnson board, and I've talked to 3 people, and they've all said yes. I have one letter in front of me from Liz Kaufman. She's out of the Studio Center. Quite energetic lady. I talked to the 2 of them, plus an old favorite of mine, Charlie came in. So, Charlie, yeah, he was fun. Had a really productive 2 hours, so but Liz is interested. She's given us a letter. So what I'd like to ask is for a motion to approve her to be the 3rd member from the Johnson board. Select board would just send us her name anyways, because there's only 3 people for 3 openings.
Do we have to follow that process?
Not in this case.
Why not?
The select board just needs to be apprised. They don't get a say. She emailed the select board chair as well.
So. So do we have a
Motion to accept her as Johnson board member.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving Liz Kaufman as the 3rd individual on our representing Johnson, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
So,
I think he means in addition to Kylie and Mark.
Oh, okay,
yeah, she's the 3rd person.
sorry.
No, that's problem. I'm kind of keeping track because I've talked to a couple folks and it's like, okay, send me a letter. So. Any opposed or abstained? Okay. We'll let her know. Green Mountain Tech Conservative Local Needs Assessment Benefit Results.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Rainey's going to put a presentation up.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think that's what's out for.
Oh, say it too
Oh, I have a clicker too? Oh, thank you. So every 2 years, under Perkins 5, Green Mountain Tech and all tech centers in the state go through a comprehensive local needs assessment. And it is required by federal law, and it is also required that once we've gone through the process of compiling all the data, that we present some of our findings to our local school board and to our regional advisory boards. And that then allows us to go ahead and write the strategies and access the funds that we received by Perkins 5. So I want to take a few minutes to walk through our comprehensive local needs assessment process, where we are, and just give you a little insight into where we're at Green Mountain Tech. So, where am I pointing this thing? Up there?
General direction.
There we go. Okay. So the comprehensive local needs assessment, like I said, is required under Perkins 5. It pulls together, well, it asks us to evaluate our programs and our centers in 5 different domains, including student performance outcomes, our program quality. So we're individually analyzing each one of our program offerings under a broad range of categories and assessments. How well we're aligned to a regional workforce, how our equity and access processes, and then how we gather input from our community and from our employers. The results then go ahead and guide us in how we are going to both shape our program offerings and how we can use funds that we receive from Perkins 5, which each year is about $200,000 to $220,000 for Green Mountain Tech. That is different for different centers across the state. Some centers are receiving over $500,000. Some centers are only receiving around $60,000 to $70,000. The funds that we use, typically a large portion goes towards a specific position, a math interventionist position that we have on staff, and then everything else tends to go towards equipment upgrades. So in order to keep our local budget as low as possible, really reliant on these federal Perkins dollars to do the big spending purchases like, a lift replacement that we have in the auto shop, things of that nature. So what do we look at when we're doing this? We look at quantitative data. So every year we get a great deal of data from the state around our assessment performance on the ACT work keys. So we get scores around our ELA performance, our math performance, and then we also get data on our post-program placement in career or college. We get data around our students that earn college credit through our programs, students that are earning industry-recognized credentials within our programs, and our program enrollment trends. All of these things are under the microscope as we do the CLNA. We also do a broad stakeholder survey, so we send surveys out to all of those different domains, students, employers, parents, staff, community members, and when we talk about students, we also send a survey out to students of sending schools that did not choose to come to Green Mountain Tech, so we can have some of that information as well that informs our outreach efforts. And then we have qualitative input and reviews through our program advisory committees, through our RAB, in a number of different avenues. So all of this comes together to pull together the CLNA. And I'm going to go quickly through just a couple of domains. You can see quickly in terms of our student outcome snapshot and this is all that when we look at the state data, this is state in relation to CTE enrolled students. So across the state, 96.4% of CTE participants are graduating in 4 years. From Green Mountain Tech, we're at about 98% of students are graduating in 4 years. As assessed by the ACT Work Keys assessment, which we do twice yearly at the state level, 47.5% are showing proficient on the ACT Work Keys, which is workforce level, sort of entry level, and at level 5, and then it scores all the way up to college level. We're at 53%. 55.7 is the state average for math proficiency. We're above the state average of 62. We're just about in line with science proficiency. We are well above the state average in terms of industry credentials, in terms of students attaining and earning, walking away from their programs with industry recognized credentials that they can use immediately upon entering the workforce. We're also pretty far ahead of the state in terms of our college credit offerings. Many of our, I would say 65 to 70% of our programs offer some level of college credit from any one of about 5 different institutions, and students walk away with these in their pockets as well. So that's Vermont State College. We have in our engineering program, kids are walking away with credits from RIT. We've got some credits being offered from New Hampshire as well. So we've worked hard to make sure that there's value for all students coming into our programs, so they can carry credentials and things away from. So when we look at those outcomes, some of our key strengths are our academic outcomes in relation to the state average. The high credential attainment, strong dual enrollment outcomes, and the strong graduation and completion rate. When we look at our alignment with our regional workforce needs, we really don't have much adjusting to do. These 6 core domains are domains or industry areas that are reflected in our region: healthcare, information technology, skilled trades, ag, creative industries, engineering, and manufacturing, all of which are represented in the programs that we offer here at Green Mountain Tech. And these programs are continually informed and brought up to current industry standard through our program advisory committees, which meets twice yearly. We have representatives from businesses all over our region coming and working directly with our instructors to make sure that we are right at the top of what the industry needs right now. Our program size, scope, and quality. So our 13 of 13 programs meet our recommended enrollment thresholds. You remember, some of you, a couple years ago, we were struggling with some enrollment in a couple of programs. And we do see program enrollment trends go like this in certain programs. They definitely wave. But we have seen some consistent numbers over the last 3 years. And as of right now, or as of this assessment, all 13 of our programs are meeting our recommended enrollment thresholds. And that is helped by the amount of strong employer engagement that we have, where we're building strong cooperative learning opportunities, apprenticeship opportunities, internships, and all those other things. Where we have identified needs for improvement in our programs typically revolve around equipment modernization. The equipment is constantly changing, and we're trying to stay on top of that using federal dollars our federal grant dollars to make sure that we're right where we need to be. We're always looking to expand our credential opportunities so that our students have more in their pocket as they leave our programs, not just into college credits, industry credentials that are gaining them access into certain positions as they enter industry. And one area that has highlighted, and I'll point to that a little later, is an internal systems thing that we are going to be working on to improve for our next round in 2 years. Is improving our tracking of work-based learning experiences, and I'll get into that in a minute. In terms of our equity and access findings, so this assesses the diversity of student population that is represented in our programs and how well they are thriving within our programs. We are seeing student success across all stakeholders. We've got, students with disabilities. Typically, we're at about a 40 to 42% students on some form of plan, whether it be an IEP or a 504. Which is generally in line with high school populations regionally. We look at our academically disadvantaged students and students from non-traditional populations. And we find across the board that those students are thriving. They are scoring well in our academic assessments. They're walking away with industry credentials and college credits. Places where we are keeping, a continued eye on are enrollment patterns for non-traditional students in particular. So that's why we do events like the Career Challenge Day, where we offer, this year we had 120 middle school girls join us for the entire day to get hands-on in all of our programs, specifically focusing on what would be considered non-traditional for them. The state and feds do have designations as to which programs have a traditional population, a gendered population. So automotive, construction, electrical are considered traditionally gendered male. And so they really strongly push for us to develop strategies to encourage young women to enter these fields as well, and doing things like the program, Career Challenge Day with middle school girls is one way that we've done those things, and we have seen enrollments from that experience coming into our school over the last 2 years. And the reverse happens in places like health careers, allied health, and places like that. So we continue to look at those things and figure out how we can make sure that our programs are welcoming and interesting to all students. So our priorities there are just continuing to increase awareness and career exploration for students in these areas. There are some areas that we identify for improvement, and these are the places that we will shape our Perkins plan as we access those Perkins funds. Continuing to strengthen academic skill integration. While our academic numbers are above state averages, they still have a ways to go in terms of wanting to see as many of our students as possible be proficient in places like math and reading. So we'll continue to invest in academic supports for literacy and math integration. We want to continue to expand our outreach and recruitment efforts to ensure that we're bringing as many students as possible and a diverse array of students as possible into our programs. We're going to be working to continue to expand our work-based learning, making sure that we have partnerships with regional partners, businesses, industry, to offer experiences for our students out there. And once again, maintaining program quality through equipment investments, which is pretty key for us. We also have 2 specific improvement plan areas as identified by Perkins, one of which is what I was just talking about, our non-traditional enrollment. Just this last year, we actually dipped this last year. The year before, our non-traditional enrollment percentage was around 21-22%. This year, it is at 15.9%, which is slightly below the state average. Because we're about a percentage below the state average, the Agency of Education has us develop an improvement plan. And again, strategies like we are already using, like the Career Challenge Day, outreach efforts to counselors, things like that are things that we will continue to do and build upon to improve that level of diversity. And then our work-based participation, this is really unfortunately a clerical error, and our actual work-based learning participation rate is up around 50%. Unfortunately, historically before this, they had only counted our co-op participation. And we have anywhere from 25 to 30 students participate in co-op, with co-op being their students who are second year in a program, say an auto student goes into their 12th grade year, employed at a garage. They're earning their high school credits. They're also taking home a paycheck. And historically that was what was only counted, but in the last year or 2, they are also allowing us to use other experiences. And those weren't unfortunately reported in this last round of data collection. So things that are also include our weekly internships, like our business program offers. We do our allied health clinical experiences are also considered work-based learning. We have internships that are happening through our electrical program where they're doing 1 a day. So these things are simply a matter of data reporting and clerical, and that is what this is. But because I need to report it, it is here. And then the last 2 things I wanted to share with you is just some general commentary from our surveys. We had a lot of survey feedback from all of those different stakeholders that I listed early on. And I lumped them into 2 slides really quickly. We have got overwhelmingly positive feedback from all of those stakeholders. The student and parent feedback was very, very strong. They really appreciate the hands-on learning and the engagement that students have here while in our programs. Many parents actually turning to say that they can't believe how engaged their students are at a level that they haven't seen since perhaps elementary school. And that's pretty common year to year when we get that sort of feedback. We had strong results in providing a supportive learning environment for all students. Students feel safe, students feel welcome, students feel connected to their programs and to the school community. There is strong feedback about career relevance and what we're teaching within our programs and how students are able to clearly connect what they're doing here to what they're going to be doing next. And that goes the same in terms of preparation for students' futures, whether it be career-based or college right off. So overall, parents and students are reporting high satisfaction from school and programs right now. Same in general goes for employer and community feedback. We got a lot of positive feedback around workforce readiness and our students demonstrating strong technical employability skills coming out of our center and going into industry. A lot of great feedback about how well aligned our programs are with industry right now, and we even have local colleges, folks up at Johnson comes down to look at our allied health program just to kind of see how we're set up here because of how well we are set up and how students are able to engage in the skills that they're getting certified in. They are really happy with our employer partnerships. And then there is a strong feeling that Green Mountain Tech is a center or a vital contributor to our regional workforce. And they appreciate when we hold events and things of that nature where we're able to be on display and show those things. And so generally what that means is that, things are are going well. There are places that we are going to continue to improve because that will improve our entire system and structure. But right now we have some strong student outcomes. Our programs are aligned with our workforce demand, and students succeed once they're here. Students are succeeding and coming away with a lot of great things for their future. That said, I'll take any questions that anyone may have. That's our comprehensive local needs assessment for this year.
Eric?
Yeah.
Can you just share the news that happened over the weekend?
Which one?
Well, maybe it didn't happen over the weekend, but the incredible success of your.
Oh, so our engineering program won a major award at, now I'm blanking on the competition. It is
SBA or something.
oh man, you put me on the spot here. I am forgetting the name.
Vermont State Robotics Final.
Yeah, the Vermont State
Tech
Robotics, and
Challenge.
they won. I sent you the email. They won a specific thing, and I'm forgetting it. But also FBLA had their national convention Thursday, Friday last week. We have 16 gold medalists, 15 silver medalists, and 4 students who swept multiple gold medals at certain places. So Green Mountain Tech, once again, really kicked butt at FBLA. Just means that we're going to be figuring out how we can send them out to the nationals again, which is always a pleasant challenge. But we also have HOSA, which is our health careers organization, or our national conference, not national, state conference this Wednesday and Thursday. And then Skills USA is the second week of April. So it really is sort of the season for us right now.
Nice. Okay, policy review, C70.
I just wanted to thank the board in regards to adopting the policy around the use of restraint and seclusion. As we come on this year with our internal behavior system, and as we really try to train our BIs and other school staff that are having to utilize this at times, it really just, it's really good to have this all in alignment and something to kind of base it on. And it really is, with our efforts, just going to ensure the safety of students, staff, and the district as a whole. So I just want to thank the board for its support.
Well, and to adopt the policy.
And to adopt the policy. I did thank them at the beginning and said thank you for adopting this.
So we need a motion to adopt the policy.
I make a motion that we adopt C70.
Seconded.
Any further discussion?
Thank you.
Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of adopting C70, restraint and seclusion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay. Administrative updates.
So I've been getting a lot of feedback post-budget because our budgets passed with a greater margin than they have since merging, which is huge. And people said 3 things. The first was that they hadn't understood before that there is no direct one-on-one correlation between ed spending and property taxes. So, yeah. Number 2, they liked the breakdown of cost drivers, and I think before, or many times before, people wanted sort of line-by-line study. But when you do a line-by-line study, and that should be available for people, but when you do that, you lose sight of the larger landscape. So they appreciated that. And the third was the community survey. They really liked hearing their voices in the budget creation and in what they eventually voted on. And we all know this, whenever there is agency, people feel like they're part of something, it becomes more important. So I also wanted to say thank you to the board. This was a very different kind of annual meeting and information meeting. We did it differently this year. I want to thank Rainey for his work, and Bart and Mark and Deb. But it was a collective effort. And I even heard from some of the people who notoriously vote budgets down saying, I didn't realize healthcare insurance was such a big cost driver. I know that you don't have anything to do with that. That was the fourth thing. People thought we bargained it locally, which we don't. So, very pleased about that. On a call with my VSA colleagues today, and there is a quote, spinning of the wheels around maps, and there's no good policy in the making. So I think there's going to be a joint V statement that comes out and says something like about between 5,000 and 6,000 people responded to community input. And they said that their top, priority was quality. Their least favorite priority was governance. And I think they may turn focus away from governance and focus on ed spending formulas. Because when you think about it, we've got education spending disparities across the states. High spenders, low spenders, all of it muddles together with all kinds of other things, and the property taxes are in flux, but you don't really see them going down, up. And again, that's just one of the pieces. So I think they're gonna ask legislators to look at mandating that the Agency of Education evaluate staffing models, that they create regional shared services, kind of like the BOCES, they now call it CSAs. I mean, it's the same thing. And look for regional scale in high schools, which will be down the line. For that to happen, they need to look at the aging infrastructure, because our buildings here are beautiful, but that is not the case across the state. And remember, when there are high spenders and lots of big projects like $1 million project that's going to be voted on tonight in a district, that affects all of us. So we will see, but they will be looking at the foundation formula. That is it from what I know. There is a bill that's being thrown around, largely driven by the NEA, so that teacher contracts are sort of one-way deals, in that the employer has to release teachers from contracts, and the teachers can decide at any moment, at any time, that they may leave to do something else. Obviously, that is not in the best interests of our students at all. So we'll see where that goes. And that's it.
Would you administrators like to have a word or two, or no? Sure.
Would I like to have a word or two?
Well, short.
Yeah, short one.
Sure. I think that as kind of the budget season wraps up, I've reflected a lot on that, and I've been in a few different places, so I've had an opportunity to experience that in a few different places. And one of the things that I've said to Deb and Kat and others that have kind of guided me through the first year of this process is that I really appreciate in this district that the folks at central office really take very seriously the administrators' recommendations and thoughts about what's happening in the buildings and what the needs of the buildings are. I feel like I had far more input in driving my budget this year than I've had in any of the other 21 years as a principal. And that's really exciting to me, because it feels like, as the person with boots on the ground, I feel like I know what the needs are. And I was really, I think, able to match up the pieces that I put in my budget with
the needs that I see in my building and do some creative pieces in there too, with some exciting things that we're gonna be able to put in place next year. But I think just as this process kind of comes to an end, it has felt really good to me. I know that it's been a challenging process and a difficult process, but as a principal, I'm leaving that feeling really heard and respected and honored in my ability to create a budget that I think will serve my building really well. So I appreciate that from our central office folks.
I agree. Also, I'll just give you a couple of highlights that have been going on at Waterville. We just wrapped up our winter sports program for the year. And I always love this. I think it's a really special opportunity for kiddos. Some of them go ice skating. We did a little bit of bowling this year because one of our days was sort of interrupted because Smugs had a water main break. One day we were scheduled, so we had to kind of change some things last minute. But I always love, every year, I'm on the mountain usually at Smugs skiing or helping kids ski, and I'm usually with the little guys. And I had a little first grader who really was very nervous about skiing, and like on the second trip, he's like, I don't think this is for me. I'm afraid of the magic carpet. I don't want to go there. And so we hiked up the little baby hill, went down a couple times, but last week when we went, he had this amazing instructor. I wish I knew her name. She's incredible. Obviously, she's been there a long time. And she was like, all right, you don't want to do the magic carpet? She hopped them in the van and drove up so they were a little bit further up the hill and got out and came down. And then on the bus home, he was like, this is the best day. We should do this every day. He's like, I love skiing. I'm going to be a skier. And I don't know. It's one of my very favorite moments to see, kids kind of leave their comfort zone and be able to try something new that they may never do otherwise. It's always a great program, and I'm really glad that we can offer it. And another really special thing that happens every 4 years at Waterville is we do our own version of the Winter Olympics. And we have the Winter Olympics right before February break. And again, it is incredible. Rainey came and took some great pictures if you looked on our Facebook page. And we do opening ceremonies, we do the Olympic pledge, we talk about sportsmanship, we have a medal ceremony and closing ceremony, we have the torch. It's really like this beautiful, beautiful thing. So if you're all here in another 4 years, come on out. It's a really special day. It's a lot of work, but we also really love it. So there's been some really fun things going on at Waterville this month.
I think I'm next. I just want to reiterate what Chris Dodge said about, coming from a different district. My prior district, their budget just was voted down, one of those very low spending districts. And I know what those folks are going through right now. And I cannot stress enough, folks, what it feels like to be leading a school here in this community, knowing that our community supports us, that our board supports us, and the importance of that, I cannot say it enough. I've felt that way since I've been here, and it's been always remarkable to me to see how this board and this community works through these challenges together and supporting us, supporting each other. It is a wonderful, having seen the other side of it, I cannot stress enough what a big deal that is to all of us working in the schools. So thank you all. I'll keep my highlights brief. Our 8th grade girls are the Central Vermont Middle School basketball champions this year. And our teams just had an incredible season, you guys. I think we had 3 losses between all those teams. They just performed very well. We have a pep rally this Friday. If you have nothing going on and you want to stop by at about 2 o'clock, 2:30, we're doing a big parade for the kids and celebrating all the winter extracurricular stuff, including theater and our music programs and some of the other things going on. So that's awesome. And I think the last thing that I will say is I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning. Our campus equity design team that Beth Ann and I work with, they're putting out their annual climate survey, and we're doing that with all of our kids tomorrow morning. And that gives us some really, really great information about how kids feel about coming to school every day. I found that information very, very helpful last year. We make sure all of our kids do it, take it seriously, and we get some great info. So hopefully you'll get to see that information when the design team shares it with you.
Yeah, I will also just share my appreciation for the community and for supporting what we do. And one of the things that I hear a lot about the high school is the opportunities for kids. And you know, that is what we know. Those are the protective factors. Those connecting kids, having them find something that they're passionate about or they want to be part of is one of the most important things we can do for our students. And that is, I'm just appreciative of the support so that we can do that work. So yes, our climate survey we sent out just before break. If we don't have the results or the number of participants, we'll send it again and we'll just keep going because that feedback is helpful. We are right in the middle of meeting with every class. So 9th grade is first. We meet with them as a whole group. We talk about courses for next year, and then we go into individual classes. We have the English classes because all of our 9th graders have 9th grade English, and they submit their course requests for next year. We do that with every grade level, including 8th graders coming up, and then we will begin the process of building our master schedule. That's now, and then in the next, I feel like we're entering into what I consider like assessment season. So first there'll be our NWEA maps, and that's for all kids. It's reading and math, grades 9 through 12. We'll hit the Vermont State Assessments next. That is 9th graders reading and math, 11th graders science. And then AP tests begin. And that is for our students. And we have 106 seats taken for AP classes this year, which is, since I've been here, the highest we've ever had, which is, you know, it just speaks to kids feeling confident that they want to try something and they're excited about it. So those are kind of the curriculum updates that I have. And then starting tomorrow, like we just have a bunch of different guest speakers coming. We have the VPA has a program called Choice Matters, and we have a speaker coming. It's open to all of our 4th block classes to come in, and it is a speaker that will be sharing the importance of safe driving. And it is apparently it's one that is very powerful. So I put it in my newsletter, and I just think it's something important that we can offer. We have a first ever talent show that's going to happen during the school day. I'm not sure what it's going to look like yet, but we have 2 brave seniors that want to kind of run the thing, and it's part of our prom committee and our performing arts clubs, like coming together to do new creative things. I think that's fun. And then we have 1X coming up. They'll be at People's in a couple weeks. And then hearing Eric talk about robotics, I'm wondering if we were competing against each other. Last Saturday, we sent the high school's robotics team to Burlington.
For the finals?
I don't know. It was the big state.
Yeah.
So we placed 7th out of 25 teams, which is pretty cool. And it's a newer program for the high school, so that's exciting. And then here I go. This is my last thing. Following what Chris said about winter sports, just our athletics program, I can't say enough. We have kids that are wrestling with MMU that are doing they're doing so well. We have 2 gymnasts that are competing with 2 different programs. Again, if we don't have it for the kid, we will go find it for the kid, which is really cool. And we have 2 hockey players that play for Stowe, and it's pretty amazing that one of our Loyal Union high schoolers is actually the captain, one of the captains, and actually maybe related to one of our members over here. But she's a leader, and the fact that Stowe, they recognize that in her, and they won their first round against, I believe, Brattleboro, and then just lost to a very strong U32 program that's likely gonna right along in the tournament. So Alpine, Nordic, dance, like all these programs just had such strong seasons. And now the basketball program, I have had the pleasure of watching these kids grow up. Our girls' basketball team finished, they were 21-0 going into the state championship. And I sat right in front of Bart. I cheered very positively, and as I do, and I'm so proud. They lost in a tough game to Hartford, and Hartford is so deserving of their win. And I do not have enough things to say about our student athletes and our coaching staff. Our boys on Friday night won. They beat Middlebury in overtime. And it is the first time in, I believe, 26 years that our program is going to Barry Auditorium for the Final Four. And so if you're bored on Wednesday night, we did draw the late game. I was hoping for 5:30, but it's gonna be 7:30 this Wednesday, and tickets are online. You can stream it. But the feelings in the hallways, and our kids are proud of themselves. Not just in athletics, but like of the things that they're doing every day. And I could keep going, but.
The level of participation on this campus for all of our extracurricular stuff, we really gotta give kudos to Stacy Stokes, our athletic director, Tim's last name.
Messier.
Tim Messier in the high school. I mean, they're really bringing kids in to try out stuff they might not have ever tried before. And
It's amazing, and I
Never
saw,
seen anything
there
like
were so many students that returned, that came back and have graduated to cheer on our teams. I saw, support staff members, teachers, I saw special educators, the board members, like we had so many people coming in and filling our seats and taking pride in our students in our community, so it's pretty cool. That's it for me.
While we stand up here, tough act to follow, but I will say this, when I first came to work in Lamoille North, one of my goals was to work in a school that had a high school, because I'd always worked in schools that were K-8, and my joy was to want to watch my kids grow up from elementary, and it is a joy, and it's so cool because I know these kids and I've watched them grow, and it's just wonderful. Hyde Park. We had a town meeting back at Hyde Park for the first time in, I don't know how many years. Well, I know I've been there 15. It was, so I called the town mothers, some women with female leaders in the town and select board decided they wanted to have it back in the school. They wanted to see our school. They wanted to see where they were spending their money. And so Rose Bayra, my admin assistant, and I worked with select board and some community members to bring town meeting back. We were expecting maybe 20 to 50. And the first part, 9 o'clock in the morning, as part of town meeting, which wasn't the warrant part of town meeting, was they wanted an elementary school presentation. And it was, I thought before, I used to do a little video or a slideshow at town meeting, but they wanted us to really give them an experience of what it was like at Hyde Park Elementary. So fortunately, I have some very talented 6th graders who came, and they came in over February break and worked with me and put together a program which was supposed to be about 20 minutes, which at the end was about 40 minutes because they were asked question after question after question, and they elegantly answered every single question. It is recorded. It's amazing. These kids, I did my little spiel and they took over and ran the show, and it was exemplary. I'm so excited because when I send these kids to middle school and high school, they already have a place and they're ready for the leadership there. They're ready to take over. It was, it ended up being 40 minutes, and then the beauty of these kids, they stayed and were runners for town meetings. So I had 7 6th graders who greeted every single person as they came in the door into the school. And then they were the runners, and they sat in a row and they took turns, one at a time, one question. They handed off the mic to another kid and went through just sharing the experience. And they had lots of questions and learned a lot about town meeting.
It was amazing. The best piece for me is I was covering the snacks when the regular town meeting started, and somebody came up to me and she goes, "I changed my vote. When I came in here, I was voting one way, and I'm walking out and I'm gonna go up and vote another way." So for us, it was powerful, and it was just great. Dr. Kiley's stepson was he rocked it. He so articulate, and so we're showcasing our kids in multiple ways. And like I said, I came here with the idea, I was excited about being in a school where I could watch we raise them up. We have kindergarten basketball, you know, and they're coming right up through. So thank you very much.
I think we've heard from you.
Yeah, you've heard enough from me.
Is there any other business? Hearing and seeing none. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you all for coming out.